In the previous episode, we see Anastasia meets Sergei. Anastasia and Sergei come out from the balcony. Theodore was shocked to see Anastasia and Sergei come together. Anastasia keeps calling Sergei's name over and over. Sergei was very happy. Anastasia and Sergei start dancing together. Anastasia tells Sergei that Anastasia likes to say his name and that she might be attracted to his name. Theodore is very upset to see Anastasia and Sergei dancing together. During the dance, Anastasia was repeatedly stepping on his feet and saying sorry that she was a bad dancer. She had never danced before. Sergei says that he is not having any problem. While Anastasia could not understand Sergei's mind, now she clearly understands that Sergei likes Anastasia. This is how the bell ends. A few weeks passed like this. Whenever Anastasia went to a party with Theodore, she started looking for Sergei. She always left the theater with Sergei and Theodore stays behind. Everyone there started to talk a lot about Theodore, and started to say that Anastasia had a relationship with another person, and she left Theodore. Anastasia starts laughing when she hears these things from the balcony. But she was not happy about Sergei's identity, because Sergei's family is under Theodore, whom everyone were making fun today. Anastasia then says that she can't get anything by herself, not even Sergei. Then Sergei says if he is not Anastasia's then he will not be anyone else. When the scene changes, we see Anastasia walking into her room with a pillow. She wanted to propose to Sergei because she wanted to be with Sergei. Just then, a girl comes and says that Anastasia's uncle has invited her. After hearing this, Anastasia becomes completely surprised. Anastasia's uncle invites Anastasia to his house because he knows about Anastasia and Sergei. Uncle never wanted to know about Anastasia's good and bad, but now when Anastasia wants to be happy with someone else, he tries to stop him. The next morning he arrives at his uncle's house where a maid takes him to his uncle's room without greeting her. Anastasia has seen her uncle in many parties but her uncle did not talks to her. Uncle asks Anastasia if she is angry with him about anything. Otherwise why is she doing such a shameful thing? He did not ask Anastasia to have a good relationship with Theodore. He knows that Anastasia is having a hard time being with Theodore. Does Anastasia wants Theodore to break off their engagement? Because of Anastasia's actions. Anastasia said that's not what she wanted. Then her uncle said that he knows that Anastasia is seeing another boy. What will Anastasia do if Theodore breaks off their engagement? How could he be so stupid? Anastasia's uncle never thought of Anastasia as a human being, he always treated Anastasia like a doll. Sergei is the only man who treats Anastasia like a human being. Anastasia can't leave Sergei for anything. Anastasia and her uncle have many quarrels about Sergei. But Anastasia tells her uncle that she will never leave Sergei. Hearing Anastasia's words, her uncle throws a jar at her. Because of throwing the jar Anastasia's forehead was injured. But she still says she will never leave Sergei for anyone. Anastasia immediately moved from there to Sergei and tells him that she will never leave him. And Sergei agrees with her. Theodore was watching them both from above. He couldn't stand Anastasia's smile at all. Seeing Anastasia's smile reminded him of Count of Aden. He wants the Everton family to never live happily ever. Anastasia never laughed this way and now she starts laughing for Sergei. Sergei is the son of a baron family. The baron family who works under Redford. He begins to wonder he would never have hurt Anastasia like this. Unless she was a member of the Everdeen family. He might have tried to keep Anastasia very happy but he was an Everdeen. Count Everdeen is the king's loyal dog. Who does all the bad things for the king. Because in the past he killed Theodore's mentor with poison. And after some time pretending that nothing happened, he kills his father too. So Theodore wants the Everdeen family to never be happy. But whenever Theodore thinks about Anastasia, his chest hurts a lot. He doesn't want to accept these feelings and puts all the blame on Anna's. Seeing that Anastasia is happy, he starts thinking about taking Sergei away from Anastasia. In the next scene we see Anastasia and Theodore at a year-end party. As soon as she got there, Anastasia started looking for Sergei. Theodore felt very angry as Anastasia approaches Sergei. Theodore grabs Asia's hand and drags her to the balcony. There he starts to say bad things to Anastasia. He tells Anastasia not to act like as she please. But Anastasia doesn't react to Theodore's words because she knows he always wants to hurt Anastasia. Anastasia calls Theodore disgraceful and she loves to see Theodore's closing face. Anastasia tells Theodore that the more Theodore tries to keep her and Sergei apart, the deeper their love grows. And Annas will take the name of Theodore in the ground with his loved ones. He pushes Theodore and went outside to Sergei, and Theodore freezes there. In the next scene, we see some of the maids saying that Anastasia only invites Sergei to her tea party. Anastasia was having a great time with Sergei. When Anastasia tells Sergei that Theodore called her a dirty woman, Sergei says Anastasia has to put up with all this for him. Anastasia wants Sergei to tell her that Theodore was wrong. But Anastasia knows Sergei would never say that because they work under him. Anastasia forbids Sergei to apologize, because she doesn't want Sergei to apologize to her, and says it would be better if she was Sergei's fiancé, instead of Theodore's fiancé. Sergei agrees with him. Sergei says he swears on his sword that he will never leave Anastasia. Then all the other knights started walking towards Theodore's office together. And they ask Sergei to go with them. Sergei goes away with a farewell from Anastasia. The Romans declared war. Roman was one of the countries the empire had plagued for its riches. Roman never stopped rebelling despite falling every time. The emperor assigned this land of rebels to the duck. The name Theodore meant river of blood. And the duck intended to live up to the name and fight till death for that land. Yet, there were only a few enemies, so it was easy to suppress their rebellion. And this time won't be any different. So should Theodore send only one knight to win the war? He wants to send Sergei so that Sergei and Anastasia will be separated for a few months. And he doesn't have to hear Anastasia's laughter. So he ordered Sergei to go to war. Anastasia keeps telling Sergei to not go to war. But Sergei doesn't listen to Anastasia. He tells Anastasia he will be back soon. A few days later Sergei went to war. Thus a long time passes and winter ends. But Sergei does not answer any of Anastasia's letters. Anastasia loses interest in food. Whenever she thinks about Sergei, Anastasia can't even sleep at night, thinking about Sergei and can't eat any food. Some of the maids were saying that Anastasia might have lost her mind. At first Theodore looked a little happy, but now his face is not that happy, because the war is getting a little longer compared to the demands. Although spring has passed, no letter has been received from Sergei. Yet the next day, Theodore comes to Anastasia. Anastasia expected Sergei at first, but the smile on her face fades when he sees Theodore. Then Theodore informs Anastasia that Sergei died in the war. Anastasia goes silent after hearing about Sergei's death.